Las Vegas, a place to take a gamble. That's especially true every January when the Consumer Electronics Show rolls into town and 20,000 new gadgets are unveiled across an area the size of 38 football fields.
The International CES started in 1967 in New York, and now it's grown to the largest trade show of any type in the Americas. It has 1.85 million net square feet of exhibit space, 2,700 exhibitors, 140,000 people, including a record-setting 4,000 media.
Each gadget that premieres at CES hopes to hit the jackpot by becoming the next big thing. But what exactly is a gadget? According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it's a small or electronic device with practical use, but often thought of as a novelty. Some of the novel gadgets that will take their bow at CES will be embraced by the public. Many more will crash and burn. But only the geekiest gadgets will be selected for sale by the online retailer, ThinkGeek. Its senior merchandiser, Ty Liotta, decides which goofy gizmos should appeal to their customers.
A lot of the things that we sell are not something that you really need to have. It's something that you kind of want to have, and especially with geeks, there's sort of almost like a lust for a new product. You see it, it's so cool, and the technology is so high-tech, you just have to have it.
ThinkGeek's headquarters, located in Fairfax, Virginia, is an offbeat workplace filled with new and unusual gadgets that can satisfy even hardcore geeks, like a pocket-sized synthesizer.
It even has drum beats, all kinds of different patterns you can record.
A mini digital camcorder.
It's a cool design. It flips open, very compact, obviously.
Or self-adjusting bionic wrenches.
As you squeeze the handle, all those points move in and it gives you a lot more contact with bolts. This is definitely something that only a geek could love. It's a $1,000 Swiss Army knife, the world's largest. It has 85 different tools with over 100 uses. Everything that you've ever seen in a Swiss Army knife, it has.
The challenge for ThinkGeek's product research team is to discover gadgets that are both novel and utilitarian.
What I've got today is a USB 2.0 hub, but it's a motorcycle engine. Basically, you plug it in, it's kind of loud.
That seems kind of cool. And what does this do?
This will change the gears.
Oh, that's cool. When something strikes us and it's unusual, we'll know it and we'll definitely go for it. The gadget is the staple of the geek. So that's what, the geeks live for, to have a little small version, electronic version of whatever they had previously that was kind of big and expensive.
So how about an entire office in a briefcase?
This is a solar panel briefcase. You can see the panel here in the front, and it allows us to charge all the gadgets that are contained in the briefcase. These are some of the types of gadgets the person might need on the go. One of the basic items that the worker might need would be some kind of PDA. This is the iPhone, of course, and it allows the worker to take notes, get email, of course, make phone calls. The worker decided they wanted something a little bit smaller. They might go for this PDA watch here. Little stylus included. You can go in, dial, make phone calls. You can also take notes. It can play video. Not as robust as the iPhone, of course, but it's a nice little gadget. Another item that might be useful is the Laser Virtual Keyboard. As you can see, it projects the keys using a laser, and then you can type. This is really handy if you have portable gadgets that have a really small keyboard on them.
The keyboard works by projecting red diode laser light through a diffracting filter, shaped like a keyboard. A lens magnifies and focuses the light image onto any flat surface. A separate infrared sensor detects the motion of the user's fingers and communicates this signal wirelessly to the receiving device.
Another item that might come in handy is this DocuPen scanner. This uses an LED for scanning. Take it, place it on the document. Just pull down the document and it scans it in. It can store, a couple hundred pages in here. It docks with a computer via USB, and then you can download all the pages that you've scanned. Maybe you'd like to make your own documents and can use something like the mobile note taker. This clips on to any paper that you have available and has a special pen that it comes with it.
Pressure on the pen's tip sends a radio signal to the clip at the top of the page that senses the position of the pen. The clip's 2 megabytes of flash memory allow up to 50 letter-sized documents to be stored. Contents can later be downloaded to a computer via a USB connection. The mobile note taker can also do character recognition on the documents to convert them to text.
Another useful item. This is the Sony e-book reader. This allows you to store up to 160 books worth of documents. It's quite a lot. So we would simply choose the book that we would want to read, and we can scroll through by simply clicking these keys to go to the next page.
Inside the display screen, millions of tiny capsules, each about the diameter of a human hair, are suspended in a clear fluid. Each capsule has either a negatively charged black side or a positively charged white side. Magnetic fields embedded in the screen cause these capsules to flip to one side or the other, creating a crisp, high-contrast font that's easily legible, even when viewed from side angles, unlike conventional LCD displays.
Now, for recording on the go, a great gadget is this ultra-thin voice recorder. So you can record notes into it. You can record for up to actually 70 hours, amazingly, in this. A little bit bigger than a credit card. So to make a recording, you just hit the record button here, and then you can speak into it, and it's going to record anything that you say. Take it back to your computer and pop out the USB port on it and plug it in. It stores the notes, and you can listen to them later.
When you're done working, why not relax with some iPod video goggles?
You can take a standard iPod, go in and box this off. Put these on. The earphones give you the full stereo audio that you normally would have while you're listening to the iPod.
The human eye can't focus on a screen that's less than an inch away. The goggles solve this problem with an innovative system of tiny screens, lenses, and mirrors. Each goggle stem contains a light-emitting diode that illuminates a moving image on a liquid crystal display. To keep the system compact, mirrors fold the image path. The light passes through magnifying lenses, creating the illusion of a large screen approximately 4 feet from the user, who sees the images as a single picture. One of Ty's own inventions is a perfect complement to this mobile office in a briefcase.
This is the ThinkGeek Wi-Fi detector t-shirt, a custom product that I developed for ThinkGeek, and what it does is it detects Wi-Fi signals in the vicinity. The shirt dynamically changes to show the Wi-Fi signal surrounding you. It's electroluminescent technology. This is similar to a backlight in a laptop. That's how it can be so thin.
Ty's novel Wi-Fi t-shirt is a big seller on ThinkGeek's website. But if you want a hands-on experience before buying a gadget, you might want to stop into a Brookstone store. Making all of its products available for the customer to try out is a key to the company's success.
If I wasn't able to see it, touch it, feel, I don't know that I would make the purchase then. So I think that is what's great about Brookstone, because they do have each item out for customers to be able to sample and test it.
Brookstone is all about unique and innovative gadgets. When people walk into a Brookstone store, they're looking for something they haven't seen before, something people will use day in and day out.
Each Brookstone stocks about 500 gadgets, just waiting to be taken for a trial run.
This is one of my favorite gadgets. It's our 6-in-1 multi-tool. It has pliers, wire cutters, a handy LED light right here, and then on the right-hand side, we have a knife, Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead, and a handy little saw.
Relaxation is another popular theme for Brookstone gadgets. The store stocks rest-inducing sound generators, sound therapy eye shades, and perhaps most famously, its massage chairs.
Massage chairs here at Brookstone are a great draw to bring our customers in and have been shopping in the mall. They get tired, need to get revitalized, so they stop by Brookstone, try out a massage chair, look at a few gadgets, and go about their business.
I walked by, saw the chair, and I just said, yeah, I could use one of those. So I just pushed a button, and all of a sudden I'm getting the full works here.
The gizmos that line the Brookstone shelves from floor to ceiling net $500 million a year. But the company comes from humble roots. Brookstone founders, retired engineer Pierre de Beaumont and his wife Delalande ran an ad in Popular Mechanics magazine in 1965. The small classified offered hard-to-find tools. The company's catalog, selling functional, no-nonsense consumer products, soon expanded. Since then, Brookstone has opened over 300 shops, specializing in unusual gadgets, from the world's strongest massage vibrator to talking meat thermometers.
Your entree is ready.
For a gadget to make it into a Brookstone store, it has to meet some strict criteria. It has to solve a problem for our customers and make their lives easier, better, or more enjoyable.
Finding the next generation of unique Brookstone gadgets is an endless challenge.
The future of Brookstone is about bringing newness to the store because that's what our customers expect from us. And the only way we keep them coming back is if they see something new and different every time they walk into the store.
But what kind of gadget withstands the test of time? Do they have to keep us dry or just close our fly? Some of our most trusted gadgets may be headed for extinction. Behold, the humble corkscrew. Count this simple mechanical device among the iconic gadgets that have withstood the test of time.
Corkscrews have a fascinating history. They actually were inspired by guns. The guns in the Middle Ages came with a worm attached for extracting a bullet from the muzzle, and that was the inspiration behind the original corkscrews.
Beer and cider containers like these were the first to have their corks pulled with a screw in the 17th century. Today, a pneumatic corkscrew can also do the job.
The bottling of wine didn't happen until the late 1700s, early 1800s. Once wine was bottled, corks had to be flush-driven. They had to be inserted all the way into the neck. And so once you had bottled wine, you de facto had to have a corkscrew.
But in the late 19th century, the corkscrew became part of almost any multi-purpose tool. From folding pocket gadgets to this precursor of the Swiss Army knife.
I mean, look at these. These have not only a corkscrew, a hammer. It is a ruler with actual inch increments here. I mean, if you're not drinking wine, you're building a house.
In addition to wine, corkscrews have opened everything from medicine to cosmetic bottles.
You'd hardly imagine that there would be a bottle of wine for this corkscrew, but this is actually used to remove corks from perfume bottles.
The waiter's friend is perhaps the most popular of all corkscrews, and one that's used in the wine service classes taught at the Culinary Institute.
There is a correct way to use a corkscrew. First of all, you want to take out your knife, make sure it's nice and sharp. Cut below the second lip of the bottle. This way, when you do get that foil off, you make sure that there's not going to be any foil in your wine. Next, you take the worm and go directly down into the center of the bottle. The first step up is a nice light pull. Second step is the same. Now ease that cork out with your own hand. Nice and slowly, very gently. And now you're ready to enjoy your wine.
But the future may look cloudy. The umbrella is one tried and true gadget that's weathered the tides of time. The umbrella was introduced 4,000 years ago in China, when its primary use was to provide shade from the sun. The Chinese were also the first to waterproof their umbrellas by using lacquer and wax coatings. In the 16th century, the umbrella was introduced in Europe to shade women with fair complexions and strong arms.
Umbrellas weighed 10 pounds or more apiece because they had this heavy cloth and the heavy stays that were either whalebone or baleen. And then in 1852, the U-shaped steel stay was invented, which is the thing that holds the cloth out. The weight dropped so that its popularity increased tremendously.
Gary Duro of Okemos, Michigan is an expert on this gadget. He owns one of the world's largest private collections of antique umbrellas.
I have hundreds. I think that they're a lost collectible and that there are very few people who collect them.
Some of Gary's umbrellas date from the 18th century, and many offer more than just protection from inclement weather, like this German pipe umbrella.
They're all gadgets in terms of the mechanism to make the umbrella, but what I like best are the gadget umbrellas, which means they do something. This is my favorite gadget umbrella. It has a compass in the ivory handle, and you take the handle off, and it has a telescope the entire length of the umbrella, and with very powerful optics, and dates 1780 to 1800. This is the French gun umbrella from the 1880s, and this is how it works. By taking the handle off, you can put a shell in there, and this would probably be a large caliber, like a shotgun, and then you take the ferrule out in order to cock and shoot the gun, and so then to shoot it, all you need to do is push up on the firing pin. This is another one of my favorite gadget umbrellas. All you need to do is pull out its 3-foot sword blade if you need to be protected.
Umbrella handles of concealed drinking cups, engraved snuff boxes, and even ladies' compacts.
This is my rarest umbrella. It's just called a servant umbrella. And then the servant would stand in the back in the rain or the sun, and then the person of wealth would stand underneath it as the servant would carry it like this.
Over the years, umbrellas have gotten smaller, more waterproof, and easier to open. And those in the future may be able to tell you when they're needed. The Ambient Forecasting umbrella has a built-in wireless receiver that gets weather updates and flashes when rain is expected. Perhaps the only gadget that's seen more ups and downs than the umbrella is the zipper. Prior to the zipper, fabric closure devices ranged from the button to lacing. Then in 1851, Elias Howe, inventor of the sewing machine, created an ingenious alternative. He called it the automatic continuous clothing closure. It closed fabric with a series of small clasps that joined when a string was pulled. But design flaws derailed its popularity. In 1914, Swedish engineer Gideon Sundback patented a more functional version by more than doubling the number of teeth per inch, creating what he called the separable fastener.
In the 1920s. And these were modern girls. They were starting to really enter the workplace and take public transportation, and they were wearing these overshoes, and they did not always zip up their galoshes completely, and therefore they would fly.
The UCAN Zipper Factory in Los Angeles, California, manufactures a wide variety of zippers. But in America, it's an industry that's losing its zip.
We are one of the last remaining zipper companies in the United States. A lot of companies have gone offshore into China.
The zipper on your pants probably came from a factory in Chouteau, Zhejiang province. The zipper capital churns out an amazing 124,000 miles of them each year. While the zipper is secure in the pantheon of time-tested gadgets, high-tech tinkerers like Mike and Matt at the Stupid Fun Club continue to create new gadgets, some even with artificial intelligence and attitude.
You have left me open for too long. Close me now.
Where do gadgets come from? Some are developed at corporate research labs or high-tech think tanks. But many come from more humble origins. In a cluttered Baltimore, Maryland basement, Brent Farley, who calls himself the world's greatest inventor, dreams of coming up with the next big thing.
Over the years, I've probably came up with about 200 gadgets that I consider to be valid.
The problem is, this 57-year-old stagehand has yet to sell even one of his concepts. This hasn't dampened Brent's inventive urge.
I seem not to have any choice whatsoever in what I do. I feel completely and totally driven. I'm looking for the ideas every day, anywhere I can find them. Somewhere on the shelf, there's room for a new gadget. And this is where I'm coming into the picture. I don't want to sound like I'm a cock inventor, but I reek with imagination. I just reek with it.
Many of the gadgets Brent has created are tools he uses on the job.
This here is my gadget I call the 4-in-1s. Crescent wrench, adjustable wrench. On the other end of the wrench itself receives ratchets. There's also a Phillips screwdriver and a regular screwdriver, and it hooks onto your belt. Everything you need, it's the 4-in-1 wrench. This is my self-hanging hammer. It's a hammer that's meant to hang up after it's used. It just simply goes on the user's belt and/or tool bag. The self-hanging hammer. This is what I call the quick grip. It's magnetic. It's designed to be on a belt, worn by the user, and the tape itself is recessed and cannot come off until it's pulled directly out of the unit. This is what I call the shoulder holder. I've used this many, many times on a job, especially going up and down a ladder if you're on a roof. It's a great, great tool. Simply goes on. As you can see, it's hands-free, but now when I want to use this, you have this, it's stretchy, as long as you need, and that's it. Now, I can use it, and I just let loose. All the ideas start on paper. Here's a handful of drawings that I've done. Drawings of my self-hanging hammer, how everything starts. Finger hockey, centrifuge bubbles.
While Brent strives to develop one gadget that might one day make it onto store shelves, across the country in a 3,000-square-foot Berkeley, California warehouse, a pair of tinkerers dreams up gadgets that may one day change the way we live. Though they call themselves the Stupid Fun Club, the concepts they're exploring are far from dumb.
Stupid Fun Club is a think tank where we make gadgets. The gadgets have personalities, and our goal is to make machines very friendly to use. You just talk to them, they're your friends, machines talk to each other, and they'll do your bidding for you.
Mike Winter and Matt Sabigtroth research human-machine relationships by investing gadgets with artificial intelligence. The key to making gadgets relate to their user is to program them with voice recognition software and language processing systems, enabling them to follow audio commands.
Sir, if you'll not be needing me, I'll close down for a while.
Very nice, Copycat. You did a great job. This is Mr. Cool, our refrigerator, and we just talked to it to open it. Cool.
Log in by stating your first name.
Mike.
Hi, Mike. How are you? My wish is your command. Maybe.
Open.
Opening door. Mike. Recalibrating.
Mike's intelligent appliances are also programmed with attitude.
I'd like this nice beverage. What are you thinking about?
Time is up, Mike. You have left me open for too long. Close me now.
Sorry. Is that better?
If you think I have time to spare, think again. Logging you off now, Mike.
Well, I'm going to go over and talk to the microwave. She's a lot nicer than you. Hotsy.
Give me your name.
Mike.
Great to see you, Mike. State a command.
The advantage of intelligent appliances is that they get to know you. They'll talk in a language that you can understand, and you'll just say to your new HD TV, hey, play me the Packers, and the TV will just find that, and it'll find your speakers. No more instruction manuals. You just bring the appliances into your house, and they're your friends, and they're friends with each other.
The Stupid Fun Club envisions entire households filled with intelligent gadgets.
In the future, everything in your home will be a gadget. It'll have intelligence. It'll know you, and it'll know what to do for you. For instance, here's a door. You know, obviously it would open for you, but it would also might suggest that you use a raincoat because it's raining outside. It also could be a security thing too. It would know if an unauthorized person entered. Here's a knife so that a person doesn't have to risk their fingers. This is an AI knife. You just tell it to chop, and then you could be doing more important things.
What we have here is Knifey, who's our socially engaging automatic knife, and he's going to cut some bananas for us today. So I place the bananas on the tray, and I'll have to log in with my identification card, which I do so. Then I choose my slice width and start slicing.
Knifey may be cutting edge, but PartyBot actually advances human interaction with gadgets.
If you're going to a boring party, you take this robot, you set it on the ground, it finds people, and it goes up to them and it plays music and invites them to dance. It has distance sensors so that it can find people and know if they're moving or how far away they are. And it has a video camera, so if you want to show all your friends across the world, you can just like hook this up to the internet and them how much fun you're having.
Mike honed his building skills constructing competition battle robots.
So I learned everything about material science because in a combat robot, you got to be tough or you're going to die. Here's the mechanism, titanium blade, biggest motors I could get, most powerful batteries. It uses as much electricity as a household would use. So I learned everything about motors, controllers, computers, how to put it together, and how to be very effective.
These skills came in handy on the construction of another Stupid Fun Club creation that pushes the limits of man-machine relationships.
This is more of a research experiment. We really want to test the boundaries of how people react with a robot that has, sexual intonations. Moonbot has a erogenous zone, and we try to get people to pet it, and if you pet it the right way, she'll get excited, somewhat orgasmically.
She really likes that quite a bit.
She's real excited right now.
Moonbot is our experiment. We made her with no preconceived notion. We are creating robots with personalities.
Do you always smell this much?
And the fundamental idea under it is to understand how people and machines should talk in a fun, simple way.
And what about the motorized couch they drive around their workshop at speeds up to 25 miles per hour? Is that the wave of the future?
This is the third seat of a Dodge van that I got accidentally left here, and so we put some really powerful motors on it and just drive it around, and we never have to walk to the refrigerator anymore. This is the essence of Stupid Fun Club.
The pure research that Mike and Matt pursue at the Stupid Fun Club may eventually translate into gadgets that will turn up on store shelves, feeding the consumer electronics industry. Gadget-hungry buyers always seem to be on the lookout for that next new thing. But one man has taken early adopting to an extreme, turning his home into a gadget museum. Shopping for new gadgets can be fun, but it can also be addictive. The buyers who are first in line to purchase new gizmos have earned the nickname early adopters. But entrepreneur Stephen Jones from River Forest, Illinois, has taken his passion to a whole new level, turning his gadget-filled home into a museum.
I'm an early gadget adopter. Sometimes I think I'm the Mr. Early Gadget Adopter, so I've named my museum of gadgets the Mega Museum, Mr. Early Gadget Adopters Museum. The Mega Museum is part hobby, fascination with keeping track of things that I've used over the time, but also trying to maybe preserve a little bit of what's been happening in our lives with technology.
Stephen has used nearly all of the gadgets in his collection, which numbers in the hundreds.
This is one of the display cases. I've been using this to keep track of a lot of the smaller gadgets. This is the very first MP3 player made by a company called Rio. It only stored about 17, 20 songs, but it was an exciting indicator of things to come. And of course, the current craze about iPods all started with this device here. Now, this is an example of a technology that didn't take off. It's a mini disc player, and it was supposed to be the next generation CD. This came out was around 98, 99. Down here, a lot of portable gaming things. This is the original Game Boy, which a lot of people remember from their childhood, if they're around my age. You can see I have 6 generations, so this thing has evolved quite a bit, but really one of the first devices to start the handheld gaming craze.
Rapidly evolving digital technology creates mini gadgets that are obsolete before they even reach store shelves.
I have a collection of PDA and handheld devices here. As a category, it's probably fading quickly to be overtaken by cell phones. This is a small part of my cell phone collection. These are things that people remember carrying around not that long ago, so to see them under glass is kind of amusing to them.
Stephen's collection is so large, most of it remains stored in his basement. His wife wishes he'd have a garage sale.
Living with all this stuff can be annoying, so I'm the one stuck with trying to hide them or put them in such a way that we can still live and move about in our house.
The reason I got started in this collection, I think, has to do with this device right here. This is the Timex DataLink watch. I could beam information from a computer straight into the watch. I picked this up for about $90. Currently, the value is $0.
Though Stephen's gadget collection may make our recent past seem like the golden age of gadgets, it's got nothing on the Roaring '20s.
It was an era of economic prosperity where more and more people could afford to own these mass-produced items. And of course, having them mass-produced made them cheaper to buy. And 2, many homes were wired for electricity by then.
Between 1920 and 1929, residential use of electricity in the United States more than tripled. the convergence of energy and technology revolutionized the American home.
In the 1920s, the place where you saw the most gadgets enter the home was, of course, the kitchen.
The 1920s witnessed the debut of gadgets like electric percolators, electric waffle irons, electric mixers, fans, hair dryers, shavers, and the marvel that still has pressing engagements today, the electric iron.
The electric iron was an appliance that 20s housekeepers loved to have in their home. It was so much easier to use than the cast iron irons that had been popular in the late 19th century. With this, you just had to plug it in, it heated up, and you were good to go. Another popular electrical gadget of the 1920s was the toaster. This is a 4-slice model. You just pull this aside to put the toast in to heat it. And it's one of many different styles that were available at the time. Some inventors of toasters were just trying to avoid patent infringement, and for others, they were just trying to invent a better toaster. The modern kitchen was defined during the 1920s. Most of what we find in modern kitchens today, you could find available in perhaps simpler technological form at this time.
Those once radical gadgets are now museum pieces, just like the artifacts found in Stephen Jones' collection. Remarkably, he's managed to make his obsession with gadgetry pay off with an ad-supported internet business.
My partner and I came up with an idea for Techlore, a new kind of community site where people who already own the gadgets could go and find out what more they could do with them.
Stephen's partner Ron wanted to develop Techlore because of frustration with his own gadgets.
Somebody that might not have as much experience with a particular gadget can come into the community and ask a question or find answers to a particular problem that they may be having with their gadget and get their answers right in the community. Here I can do a very simple search on iPod Frozen, and look what comes up first is how to fix a frozen iPod. I'm very fortunate that I'm allowed to start a business and have it dovetail with my own personal hobby and my ability to collect. There's been many opportunities where my own personal collection has turned into a way to help other people through the community site.
As perhaps the ultimate gadget early adopter, Stephen is looking forward to purchases he'll make in the future.
If you want to know where gadgets are headed, this is an early example. This is a portable mobile robot. I think at first glance this might be dismissed as a toy, but if you look at all the technology, the sensors, the motors that have been worked into this, it's clear that this is an indicator of what's to happen in the future of gadgets.
That future may be closer than Stephen realizes. The robotic servants we've always dreamed of may be right at our door.
My name is Sats.
A better tomorrow. That's what we've always been promised. Science fiction, exhibits at World's Fairs, and visionary engineers have all tantalized us with prospects of a life of leisure, filled with work-saving gadgets, a techno-utopia.
The notion of a techno-utopia is that you live in a world where for every single problem that you could possibly have, there's some gadget that you could buy that will solve that problem for you.
But dreams of gadget-filled homes of the future have often failed to live up to expectations. Case in point from 1945, architect-engineer Buckminster Fuller's revolutionary Dymaxion House. The only remaining prototype now resides in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. Its signature feature is its dome, set atop a circular floor plan.
The Dymaxion House was Fuller's solution to what he considered would be a huge issue after the war, after the Second World War, a housing shortage, and a way of using the production methods that had been created for manufacturing aircraft for the war to make houses.
The house itself was like an oversized gadget, complete with unique built-in devices.
This is probably the most obviously gadgety part of the house. This is called the evolving shelves. What you do is you press this button. Once you see what it is you're looking for, it's in place, you can take it out there and you can go about your business.
Fuller's gadget of a home was certainly novel, but it failed to click with returning GIs who wanted more traditional homes. In 1957, Monsanto's House of the Future at Disneyland offered another intriguing glimpse of tomorrow, but its promise of atomic food preservers and ultrasonic dishwashers never materialized.
Futurists usually don't nail exactly what's going to happen, but I think that they almost always fail to predict how society is going to evolve. So you see predictions of people that think we're going to have these kitchens of the future, and then by the time we do, we don't have the women that were supposed to be standing around in those kitchens of the future.
Visions of a better tomorrow have often been flawed because the gadgetry is cooler than it is practical. Example, the jetpack. Even if jetpacks weren't hamstrung by a limited fuel supply that's exhausted in seconds, there's a good reason that we're not piloting them today.
A big reason we don't have jetpacks is because having a jetpack yourself is a great idea. Having 1,000 other people with jetpacks turns into a really horrible idea.
Many visions of a better tomorrow have hinged on a race of robot servants. How close are we?
Instead of humanoid robot servants, like we were expecting, instead of Rosie the robot, we're getting actually special purpose tools that just solve one problem at a time, and they do it well.
A good example of a special purpose robotic gadget is the luge.
It's designed to clean your gutters out of leaves. And the way it works is you just set it down into your gutter, it's radio controlled, and then it just cleans out all the leaves.
But if robots are the gadgets that hold the key to a better tomorrow,
My name is Sats.
they'll only serve us if we're willing to bond with them.
Do you like talking to me?
You're all right, I guess, for now, until a better one comes out. How old are you?
I am 2 years old.
I think speaking to this robot is much less weird than typing on a keyboard. It's certainly more natural.
Until that elusive better tomorrow arrives, our relationship with gadgets will be determined by their commercial success or failure. The marketplace ultimately decides which gadgets become part of our future. And with any luck, one of those gadgets may come from the basement of Brent Farley.